Arya, it's great to see you today.
It's good to see you.
Arya, you're British Israeli, and you've been serving in the International Legion since the beginning of the war. And now you've been injured the fourth time. You've decided to call it quits, and you'll be going out country now. But I'd like to ask you, what's really going on in the front? You're there, you've seen it, you know what's happening. What do you see? Is it as bad as they say?
Worse. I don't think people outside of the conflict fully understand what is going on here at the moment with the lack of ammunition that we're receiving or not receiving. It's hell on earth. The ratio of incoming to outgoing munitions is very, very high.
So what impact does it have on operations, for instance?
It changes the whole aspect of the work that we do in Ukraine. Whereas before November, almost all of my work was attacking trenches, attacking Russian lines. Whereas now, it's just defense.
And does that, I assume that costs lives eventually.
I've seen a disproportionate amount of KIAs and MIAs since November. There were injuries and there were deaths prior to November, but after November, with the lack of ammunition, the numbers have drastically increased.
So that's in the International Legion. So you would say that it's actually costing European and American
it's
lives.
all over. It's Ukrainians and the Foreign Legion.
So can you highlight an example of that? What else have you seen?
A mission that I did a couple of days ago, you're talking about a ratio of 2 to 18, like every two artillery pieces that were fired, 18 were returning fire. So you can imagine the sort of conflict that we were having, just keeping our heads down.
And as this war has gone on, it's become increasingly difficult for you yourself. You've been injured a fourth time. What happened to you?
First time, early in the conflict, artillery got shrapnel on my legs. Then my Humvee exploded over a mine, 18 mine. Then I got a grenade shrapnel in my eye, and last week I injured my left knee doing the medevac.
Now that you're going to be going out country, and you've been thinking about this a lot, and you've written about this publicly, you think that there's a lot of parallels between Israel, the country where you lived for 30 years, and the war it's fighting, and what you see in the Ukraine's war against Russian aggression. What makes you say that?
Well, prior to my coming over to Ukraine, one of the reasons why I did come to Ukraine was I knew at some point the conflict would spread over to the Middle East. And it's been shown to be the fact, whereas Russia and Iran are in cahoots, arming Hezbollah and the Hamas terrorists. The way that the Hamas terrorists are fighting now is completely new. They're using drones and loiter munitions, all learned from Russia, because I've seen the same assaults that Hamas used in Ukraine. Identical.
So that is an interesting point. And a lot has talked about the fact that Iran and Russia are allies. Obviously, Iran supplies the drones to Ukraine, to Russia to attack Ukraine. And we know that Hamas leaders visited Moscow almost immediately after the October 7th attacks.
In Israel, it all depends how far the Israeli government is willing to go in Gaza. Prior to the actual incursion to Gaza, there was talk that they were going to go all in and eradicate Hamas. If that is the case, then hopefully a milder regime will take over. It can't continue with the way Hamas has been treating their own civilians and with the Israelis. It all depends how far the Israeli government is willing to go.
Very good. All right, I appreciate your time today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your service.